The rise and fall of Pablo Escobar. What if I told you one man controlled 80% of the world's cocaine, made $25 billion a year, and was hunted like a ghost, but still lived like a king? This is the story of Pablo Escobar. Humble beginnings. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1, 1949, in Rio Negro, Colombia. He didn't grow up rich. His mother was a schoolteacher, struggling to provide for the family. Colombia, at that time, it was in chaos. A brutal civil conflict between political groups created violence everywhere. And in that chaos, criminals thrived. That's the world Pablo grew up in. By the age of 12, he moved to Medellín, a city that would later become his empire. The rise of a criminal. By his early 20s, Pablo was already becoming known. In 1971, he claimed responsibility for the murder of a wealthy man. No one knew if it was true, but it made him famous to the poor. He wasn't a criminal. He was a modern Robin Hood. But behind the image, he was ruthless. By the 1970s, he was involved in theft, kidnapping, drug trafficking. Then came the opportunity that changed everything: the cocaine empire. In the US, young people were looking for stronger drugs, and Pablo delivered cocaine. With his partner, Carlos Leda, he built a massive drug network using an island called Norman's Cay in the Bahamas. He created labs in Colombia, teamed up with other traffickers, and formed the Medellín Cartel. At its peak, controlled Basha of global cocaine, made over $1 million per week, sometimes much more, generated $25 billion per year. They smuggled drugs in cars, planes, even inside human bodies. Money was everywhere. They literally hid cash in walls and fields. Family and power. At just 23, Pablo met Maria Victoria Hernandez. She was only 12. Despite opposition, they married when she became pregnant. At the same time, his empire kept growing. But Pablo didn't just want money. He wanted power, politics, and war. In 1982, he entered politics. Shockingly, he was elected as a substitute congressman. But not everyone accepted him. The president and minister of justice tried to expose him. Rival cartels wanted him dead, and the United States wanted him captured. Pablo responded with one message: "I prefer a grave in Colombia than a prison in the USA." Terror and control. To avoid extradition, Pablo launched a campaign of terror, kidnappings, bombings, assassinations. He even kidnapped families of powerful elites to force the government to change laws. And it worked. In 1991, he surrendered, but on his terms. The prison that wasn't a prison. He was sent to a prison he built himself. La Catedral. This wasn't a jail. It had a football field, a pool, luxury living. He even chose his own guards. Police couldn't come within 20 kilometers. But in 1992, the government had enough. They tried to move him to a real prison. So Pablo escaped. The fall. Now alone, hunted, and abandoned, Pablo was no longer untouchable. His allies were arrested. His empire collapsed. His family went into hiding. On January 30, 1993, he carried out one last attack, a bombing in Bogota. That was the final straw. Even the people turned against him. Death of a kingpin. On December 2, 1993, one day after his 44th birthday, Pablo made a mistake. He stayed too long on a phone call. Authorities traced him. They surrounded his hideout. Pablo tried to escape through the roof, guns in hand, shooting wildly. Then, 3 bullets, one in the leg, one in the stomach, one in the ear. After 18 months on the run, the king of cocaine was dead. OUTRO engagement. From a poor kid to the richest criminal in history. Pablo Escobar's story is not just about power. It's about how far someone can go when there are no limits. Do you think he was a hero or a monster? Comment below.